Have the MLB playoffs exposed FSG? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. With MLB playoffs going on, every year the Sox don't make it, which has been a lot lately. I always think, what can the Red Sox do to get themselves to compete against these teams that are winning? But this year, one thing that stood out to me amongst everything else are some comments John Henry made earlier in the season and just simply how wrong they've become. So what we're going to do in today's video is take a look at how this postseason is exposing Red Sox ownership and what this means for the Red Sox offseason. But before we get into that, just a heads up, we're going to be doing a live stream on this channel tonight. It's a Red Sox Hot Stove Power Hour. Basically, we're going to be live for 1 hour answering as many questions about the Red Sox offseason as humanly possible. It's going to be a ton of fun, something we've never done on this channel. So I'm looking forward to doing that with you guys. That is going to be tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so for those of you who may not really know what I'm talking about just yet, there are actually a few different storylines that we could pull out of this postseason and relate it back to the Boston Red Sox. For example, teams with really good bullpens tend to do well in the postseason, something the Red Sox absolutely should take note of. But the one I want to focus on today is a storyline that has really sort of come to the forefront of this postseason, and that is that money talks. What I mean by this is, of the top 5 payrolls in baseball this year, all of them were in the 2024 postseason for different periods of time. In fact, 4 out of the 5 of the top payrolls in baseball this season won their respective divisions. Now, obviously, there were also a bunch of lower payroll teams that made it to the postseason. Guys like the Guardians or the Tigers certainly weren't near the top of the league, but at the same time, too, that's just math, right? There are 10 teams that make the postseason. Obviously, all 10 of them can't be the top 5 teams in Major League Baseball. That's just simply not possible. But what I think is really interesting about where the playoffs are now is the fact that we are in the championship series and only one team is left that has a payroll outside of the top 5, and that's the Cleveland Guardians, who appear to be laying down and dying in the Bronx, but that's an entirely different story. The point of this, and the reason we are talking about this today, is because of how it relates to the Red Sox. And I'll tell you exactly why. Back in June, John Henry did an interview with the Financial Times where he talked about his entire portfolio and what it means to own sports teams. But there was one specific quote in here that I remember being a big deal when it came out, but I just can't stop thinking about now that the playoffs have officially started. And that's a quote that John Henry had about why Red Sox fans were upset with the direction of this team. He said, quote, "Because fans expect championships almost annually. They become frustrated and are not going to buy into what the odds actually are, 1 in 20 or 1 in 30. At the time, even when this came out, again, we were all kind of upset by this quote because it felt like BS, right? But right now in this postseason, it really feels like that is the wrong thing to say, because what you're looking at in this postseason are top owners in this league, guys who have similar amounts of money that John Henry does, guys who have a similar fan base that John Henry does, and guys who have the value of a team that John Henry does, who realize that's not entirely the case. Yes, at the end of the day, only 1 out of the 30 teams in Major League Baseball win a World Series, but at the same time, too, with the assets and all of the capital that teams have, they can shrink those odds, and it's becoming abundantly clear as the postseason goes on. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, it's not necessary to totally spend a ton of money to win or get to the World Series, right? There are teams all the time who surprise you with lower payrolls in the postseason, but at the same time, too, it's clear right now that the teams and the owners that actually invested in their product are seeing the biggest return, and that's what drives me absolutely nuts about this John Henry quote, because, again, you sit there and it drives you absolutely crazy because the odds aren't 1 in 30. I mean, at the end of the day, they are kind of 1 in 30, but do you think that the Mets or the Yankees or the Dodgers sat there this offseason and said, man, I don't know, even if we spend $500 million or whatever it is on a super great player, our odds of winning the World Series are still exactly the same as the Oakland Athletics or the Chicago White Sox. What's the point of spending? Probably not. They probably did not sit there and say those things, and that's what the big difference right now is between big market teams like Dodgers or Yankees or Mets and where the Boston Red Sox Sox are. And this isn't some eureka moment by me, right? I didn't come up with this theory. I didn't figure it out and totally expose FSG. Again, this is something even at the time of this quote that Red Sox fans were like, whoa, wait a second. What do you mean it's 1 in 30? No, it's not 1 in 30, dude. You have the ability to make it 1 in 15 or 1 in 10 if you truly invest in your product. And at the same point, too, every single time that you see a Shohei Ohtani or a Francisco Lindor or a Mookie Betts or a Juan Soto or an Aaron Judge or whoever it may be have a big moment in the postseason and get their team just one step closer to tasting that World Series champagne, he's proven wrong time and time again. It's like this quote totally backfired and smacked him straight in the face, and this postseason is absolutely exposing it. But the problem is that these quotes should be absolutely terrifying for Red Sox fans, and there's a couple of reasons for that. But before we get into those reasons, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Just simply helps these videos out a ton. It's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Thank you all very much for taking a second and doing so. Let's get into why this should be scary. The reason quotes like this really terrify me as a Red Sox fan is not only because every single free agent video that we've made this offseason has to end with, at this point, the Red Sox need to put up or shut up. The fact that every single free agent video we make ends with, yeah, but this is if the Red Sox actually invest in their product, because Red Sox fans, we as a community, really don't have any faith that that's going to happen, right? We sit here and quotes like this sort of push our hope down as to when the Red Sox are actually going to invest in their product again, and that's a really terrifying thought, but we understood that already. We know that John Henry and the Red Sox are going to have to make some serious actions this offseason to put themselves in a position where fans believe in their product again, because at this point, every single action that they have had over the last couple of years have pointed in the exact opposite direction, and it's not just simply spending money, it's going that extra mile, doing something out of your comfort zone to make this team better. Jack Flaherty, Seth Lugo, Shota Imanaga, Teoscar Hernandez were all examples last offseason of this team just simply refusing to go that extra mile and land somebody who could make a legitimate impact on this team, and that's a terrifying thought. But more so, what I want to point out about what these quotes really mean is that these quotes kind of feel like, at least to me, that this ownership, that John Henry in particular, has lost that sort of fire, that spark that made the last 20 years of Red Sox baseball really fantastic. It feels like an owner who just simply does not care. When you say things like, well, the odds are 1 in 30 to win the World Series anyways, and fans shouldn't expect a competitive team every year, that's just ridiculous. Or a quote when you're asked at winter weekends why season ticket prices or why ticket prices are high in general, your response is, well, baseball players are too expensive, right? They're expensive. We need to figure out how to pay for them. That doesn't exactly sound like the owner that Sam Kennedy and Craig Breslow adamantly believe is totally invested in this product, right? It just does not feel like John Henry really cares about the Red Sox winning or losing. And it's quote like these and its exposure like you're seeing with the Dodgers, the Mets, and the Yankees that really make me feel that way. Now, again, at the end of the day, I understand that spending isn't everything. I understand that teams with a big payroll like the Padres haven't found total success over the last couple of years, but what I will say is that the teams who build smart, the teams who combined their ability to leverage their assets that not a lot of other teams have, that have spent smartly, that have utilized their analytics and not been afraid to go that extra mile to ensure that someone who's impactful stays here or goes here without going anywhere else, have found a ton of success. And I think that's a big thing that I keep thinking about this postseason, and it scares the hell out of me that the Red Sox haven't been able to do that. Now, I don't know if FSG is ever going to spend again. I don't know if this is just their model now, right? I don't know if this is sort of the thing that they're going to say, well, we're going to go strictly homegrown and we're going to allow these young guys to play and whatever happens, happens. Or if they were just simply waiting for a big moment or for everything to sort of come together to put their cards on the table. My hope is that it's the second one, right? My hope is that after everything we have seen this season, after everything we've seen from the prospects, from the young players, and how close they were to being a truly competitive team in 2024, that the Red Sox have sort of backed themselves into a corner a bit, that they don't really have a choice but to truly improve this team. It's why we're hearing quotes from Alex Cora saying, look, guys, this is going to be your last year mediocrity. We're going to have fun Red Sox teams again. It's why you're hearing quotes from Craig Breslow that's saying, look, we're looking to be aggressive this offseason. It's time to make this team a winning baseball team again. It's because of everything that this team has done without this true investment from ownership. The question now becomes, if they are going to invest again, what is that going to look like? Is it ever going to be that top of the league payroll that we saw in 2018 that led to the greatest Red Sox team of all time? Or is it going to be, we're just going to stick right around that luxury tax and work within that threshold? They could still have a successful team doing that, but again, this postseason, man, it feels like every team that truly invests saw the return that they've been looking to get. And again, they're making a whole lot more money right now than the Red Sox are, because guess what? Those stands, those are filled with paying fans. Those radio broadcasts, those TV broadcasts, yeah, that money's going to them, right? This is how big teams make big money, and the Red Sox right now aren't doing that, and I'm scared that the Red Sox don't realize that. I'm scared that they truly don't understand that a winning team makes more money than a losing one, especially in a market like Boston. So when can they realize it? What is it going to take for this ownership to figure out that they are getting egg thrown in their face every time they make a comment like this, and then watching the rest of the league just simply lap them in terms of success? I don't know what it's going to take, but man, this postseason, in my opinion, has really exposed these John Henry comments, and it's something I just simply can't stop thinking about. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? Do you think this exposes FSG a little bit? Do you think this is a bit of egg on their face? Do you think I'm overreacting to some comment John Henry made offhandedly a little bit ago? And what do you think this means for the Red Sox offseason? Is this where they realize this is when they're going to spend money? Or are they going to stay strong and not do what they've done over the last 20 years, which is invest in this product? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just simply helps it out a ton. It's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you want to listen instead of watch, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Red Sox Hot Stove Power Hour and in the Red Seats.